Welcome back, everyone. We are here with the second best of three for today, which is going to be played between Tremor and Eternal. And with me now, a different caster, a different tank, however, one of the best we have, ssbkid. Welcome in. How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going? Head honcho, big boss, Dire Wolf. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing great. And most importantly, I hope everyone watching at home is doing fantastic as well. Obviously, we're getting some stuff set up right now behind the scenes, but hopefully that first match was exciting for you guys. I mean, real quick, just to touch base on that. Ariando on a tear recently, beating Elysium last week as well, right?
Absolutely. It has been so exciting. From last week to the early first weekend of Season 9, the first game already had 4 sets instead of 3 because the teams were so close together. And it's also going to matter because we are slowly moving towards the playoffs here as SB, and therefore the teams with a lot of pressure. Eternal needs to win because they want to stand on that 100% set win ratio and dominating, making sure that they are going to have no trouble going into the playoffs. Tremor, however, they took some unexpected losses after taking some huge performances, so they really need to win today. Unfortunately, we heard that Wispy is not attending today, and he was and that is going to be a difficult part there as well. So let's see how it's going to be played out. We have 3 exciting killers. The first one, we need to speed it up a little bit because we are already going in. Is going to be the Spirit. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, it's getting a little bit hectic here behind the scenes. Now the team's loaded in without us giving them the sign for it. So we are trying to be as quick as possible, but we see that Royalty also didn't load in there. So, oh, he did. What is happening? Behavior now pranking us as well. It is a little bit hectic, but we are here. We are going into the Spirits.
This is, yeah, like you said, no Wispy, which I feel like is really unfortunate because I feel like the killer spread for today actually really favors Wispy as killer. But we're going to see John the Spirit right now versus some of the staples from Team Eternal as well, right? We got Dan, Nightlight, Zaka, Royalty. If you've been living under a rock, you might not know these people, but obviously anyone who's watched competitive know that this is a very formidable team right now. And Jaw having to step in for Wispy. I believe the last time I casted Tremor, we saw the same thing. I think it was Tremor Elysium. We saw Jaw having to step in and, you know, kind of take over that role as well. But Zaka already onto this chase right here. Gonna pop the M2, maybe get some information. Really smart stuff. You're kind of, oh, wow, good break of LOS right there. Just kind of holding W, I believe, and then, you know, maybe kind of busting a little turn right there back into that tile. So now you just have to play this, try to get that first hit, but obviously the Survivor's doing a really good job. Nightlight, great job using the lights right there, but Jaw only using half power, so was able to get that recharge real quick.
And this recharge is also going to be important for getting some injuries here, but unfortunately we have to wait some seconds, and we know what a few seconds mean when you are facing the Survivor team of Eternal. It's a lot of pressure on the generators because they have an efficiency that is incomparable to any other team that we have in Season 9. Dan taking the first injury right here with Sloppy Butcher as well, so that's going to be a longer reset time, but for now we will see if Dan will be taken onto the floor as quick as possible. Moving over here, 50-50 on the pallet, and Dan is going to take the winning position here in this mind game. Jar going to stand still for a little bit, waiting once again for the recovery. Is it going to happen now? Yes, but Dan moved all the way into the famous comp corner right here, and SSB, I can tell you, that is something that causes a lot of progression onto the other gens.
Absolutely. Like you said, you know, the comp corner really strong. Obviously, Season 9 having a little bit more of a balancing change as well. No pain rest, so that's actually going to be really good for these survivors. They, you know, Jaw not having the rune either, going to have to, like, go physically and break gens now, which can waste a little bit of time, which, against Spirit, when time is on your side, like, that's the name of the game. As soon as Jaw pops power, those survivors are communicating to each other constantly, and they're waiting for that recharge, and as soon as that recharge is happening, happening, they're just blasting gens because they know that they have all the time to do it. Dan, though, gonna get rescued right here. Gonna end up trying to, you know, play this tile right here. No, just holds W. Really smart stuff. The mind game right there. Great stuff on Jaw. You see how, like, he sort of wastes a little bit of time going around the tile, gets slapped with the D. Shout outs to my boy Q. But right now, you know, it's looking pretty good for Jaw. Can get the second down, but gonna have to get it rather quickly. The Shack Pilot gonna delay that second down just a little bit longer. Pop in the power, though. What are we gonna get here? Survivors pop in another gen and finally gets that down, but not before 2 gens pop in that distance. Stage 2 on the way, though.
Stage 2 on the way, indeed. Tunnel out plan very clear here. You want to get out Dan as quick as possible. The difficulty is, however, that your tunnel out plan needs to be executed relatively quickly, because if the survivors are getting a lot of gens done in return, then this plan isn't doing a lot for you. So Jar very understandably here going towards the generators, checking on their progress, and we actually hear that we have a lot of them. The Hex Rune is unfortunately not doing a lot of work in this game because it has been removed quite early from the trial, so maybe Pop Goes to Weasel would have been the safer kick here to secure the necessary regression kicks for sure. We are going back, and that's going to be the potential final run for Dan the Man.
Yeah, that's an interesting interaction. I'm pretty sure Dan just kind of decided to relax there on that pallet, knowing that someone was still around, just because of that unhook happening rather quickly. Are we gonna make this pallet? Oh, barely didn't make it, unfortunately, right there. Royalty trying to find the pallet stun. Unfortunately, not going to pan out the way that they wanted to. That's going to be a dead Dan a little bit earlier than they probably would have wanted to. But like you said, with that ruin being cleansed rather early, and the only thing you have going for yourself is Eruption, and if I'm not mistaken, the gen that they just popped was the one that was affected by Eruption. So now you don't get value from that either, even if you do down Royalty right here. So really good stuff, really good coordination from Team Returnal. Obviously, this is expected, right? So we're going to have to see if Jaw can really turn up the notch right here. So far, trying to find someone. Obviously, let go of Royalty because he wants to pressure, you know, the last 3 gens that are being done yet. Taking some time right now while the recharge is happening to break these pallets as well, just to avoid the mind games entirely. Really smart stuff, but not having enough duration to make it all the way to that gen. And now we see Royalty right here. And this is where Nightlight and Zaka, if I'm you, I'm grinding these gens on the other side of the map, and that might be what they're doing.
And the big thing is, right, some teams are trying this pallet save onto Dan, then it doesn't work, and after that the team falls apart. And when you watch Eternal, it feels like, yeah, okay, it didn't work, we just proceed with the normal game plan anyway. We're not taking any additional risk, we're not going to take any setback, anything like that. They are just clearly vibing. So it's just a matter of time when that final generator will come through, because we are also not going to face any difficult 3-gen setup. This is going to be a relatively far to third quarter progress generator here. As said, Ruin has been removed early, and unfortunately we haven't brought a Pop Goes to Weasel, so we have to work with what we have. But look at this 3-gen setup that Eternal left you. The other one is going through Shack, and then in a clear line on the complete opposite of the Wrecker's Yard, you finally find the 3rd generator. That is the most horrendous gen setup that you can face as a killer here, and therefore a defense will realistically not really be possible. So the only chance you have to counter that is somehow getting as quick as possible some hook stages in. Royalty is being reset though in the distance, so they are not working on the gens right now, and Eternal going down right here together with the Eruption might be a comeback chance for Jar here.
Yeah, it might be the time for a comeback. Maybe get a few more hooks right here as well. But yeah, like you said, you know, that spread not too good. Obviously having, you know, I believe it's recharge and speed during the M2 power, right? So no like duration increases or anything like that, right? If I'm not mistaken, those might have gotten changed a little bit. But regardless, you know, all the survivors popping the gens. A couple stages right here, not looking too shabby. I think we saw someone rotate over here, trying to maybe, you know, go for the save from an off angle. Jaw a little bit weary, but so far, yeah, no, these survivors are just gonna take what they can. What is that? 7 stages, 6 stages, something like that, right?
7.
7, yeah.
7 stages.
Against a tier 1 killer, that's not bad at all, right? Like, I feel like that's probably okay, which is why they were so adamant on, like, you know what, let's just leave, like, let's not even play it. Especially because, you know, maybe if they get Zaka going in, then, you know, you might potentially get another fresh hook, and that extra fresh hook might be the difference maker in the second half right now. So 7 stages, doing pretty good. I mean, that's Eternal in a nutshell, right? Nothing too interesting, but we are going to see them flip around, and now we're going to see the survivors on Tremor's side. I'm excited to see who's going to play, and we're all going to find out right after this break. Welcome back to, this is the second half of the first killer of DBDLeague, and wow, what an immediate tag right there. And as you can see, Wispy on the survivor side. I'm actually very curious to see him not play killer, but immediately be back here for survivor. So Zaka gonna be the one to bring it down, and that is a 30-second chase, maybe even less. Dire, it might have been like 15 seconds. I don't know. Was anyone recording?
Well, I have an explanation for you. I said we just had a conversation with Eternal in the background about a miscommunication of them telling them to speed it up. Then they loaded in the previous trial. And I told to Zaka, I will always tell you to speed it up. And I think Zaka just took that to heart and took it onto the Spirit trial as well here. Thank you, Zaka, for following my instruction and giving us the quickest down in Season 9, I believe, so far. That was insane, and that's going to be a player early on into the basement. And considering the win condition SSB, we are talking about 7 stages on an S tier killer, some might say A tier killer, but that's insane, and that's setting the tone for Eternal taking this first set point with a very, very dominant performance here.
Yeah, dominant indeed for sure. I mean, this is exactly what, yeah, you still get this down anyways. Yeah, like it doesn't even matter. You get the free tag on the jaw, and then you get the down on the Wispy. Now you have a 1 in 4 chance. Let's see. Oh, wow. That's actually really unlucky, but regardless, you know, they still get to buy a lot of time. Just get rid of the track palette. They do pop a gen for their troubles, though, so Tremor definitely not letting all of this time go to waste. But now you're going to be looking for Wispy, and at this point, Wispy going to try to find something right there. Just gets the drop just so you can play a longer tile. But when you have power like the Spirit, when you could just move 3 times as fast as a regular survivor across these tiles, it doesn't even matter. That's going to be stage 2 for Wispy already. Zaka looking to just get an elimination here, probably before the second gen gets popped. But chances are, if you know, we haven't seen Zoffies, we haven't seen Ronnie at all. So we can only imagine that they're pumping gens out, and that's exactly what they're doing. A little bit of a different build, not going to be running the Ruin. Zaka bringing the Noed, kind of maybe hinting that he's expecting this to maybe go towards the endgame phase.
Absolutely, yeah. Wispy will not survive this trial for much longer. I believe Zaka can easily camp this out, and Wispy is either missing some skill checks there, not willed to go for it all the way, or there is some problem going on, might be a misunderstanding, or quite some, I don't know, frustration on the side.
He might
of
have just
Tremor.
given
Not
up.
entirely sure, yeah, but that's rather unfortunate here, because you also kind of throw your name on the stage on DBDL, and if that was really an intentional give up onto the hook, then that's, naja, not going into that. We are going to watch Zaphis on the next chase. Tremor down by a survivor already, and that's going to be the second gen in exchange for the next injury here. So that's a really, really unfortunate start for the team.
Yeah, unfortunate indeed right there, and really good awareness. Just gonna get the down and gonna proctor that eruption right there. Gonna have the Agi in order to rotate a little bit closer towards where all the gens are. Obviously not going for that first hook, the second hook even better. Just because you can hook and then immediately pop power and immediately pressure this generator right here. So that's looking like what Zaka is gonna be doing right here. Gonna be stalling out this eruption timer. That's actually, you know, I've seen people do that a little bit as well. Might as well just wait a few seconds for the value, right? Just to make sure you actually get some use out of these perks. And you can always rotate back in power just in case someone's, you know, early rotating back, thinking that Zaka's going to push somewhere else. But right now, everyone else playing a little bit safe right here, maybe trying to find a position right here to get Zafis off of this hook right here. But if they're playing it, if Zaka's playing it smart, you know, that this could be easy, you know, 2 stages right here for Zafis.
Yeah, absolutely. Zaka is in the best position to also decide who's going onto the hook, who's going where, who has how much wiggle room for a generator and for progression here. So Zaka really the deciding factor over the Tremor survivor team. Ronnie injured, the other 2 survivors just went for a reset, but we're straight onto them again. That's going to be a hit onto Jar, leaving Zafis as the only healthy survivor here. We are holding W towards this TNL, playing a little bit of a 50-50 mind game, but Zaka too strong, too confident, not even allowing anything. That's going to be Eruption coming out on the generators close by, and the next hook stage coming through as well. 7 stages we had in the previous trial, so Zaka more than halfway done achieving that first set point, and with the reset coming in, we also know that the generator pressure is not going to be the biggest here, so Zaka earned quite some time for himself.
Yeah, definitely earning quite a little bit of time right here to maybe play this a little bit more defensively, start getting Eruption on some of these generators, like you said, since they were prioritizing the reset. You know, these gens are going to be at like 10-20%, and if you get that Eruption hit, then you just knock that much more off of it. So really, really smart stuff right here. And yeah, just gonna play this a lot safer. I mean, like you said, in one of the best positions that Zaka can be, he does not need to rush this whatsoever. He has full control of the tempo of the game if he isn't overextending for these chases and just getting tags and getting Eruption pops right here, or interrupting hook saves right here, which is exactly what's going to be happening right here. I'm not sure if we're going to see, yeah, we're going to see the rotate right here onto Zafis, just because, you know, you are going to give them time to reset. Well, that was a vault of all time. Let's just leave it at that. But Zafis right here, potentially, you know, the down on the horizon for him. But Zaka just gonna rotate over to the other side, maybe get a quick tag right here. No, they're smart enough to know that they're gonna leave. But so far, not for much longer though. You're gonna see that down coming pretty soon. Yeah, there it is.
Unfortunate, as you could say, in a short version of analyzing the current situation. Ronnie going to find the reset there. Zaf is still injured. That might be a reset together, might be a reset on their own. We will find out in just a couple of seconds here. So also the generator pressure is not really looking bloomy on the side of Team Tremor, and that's going to be a relatively difficult challenge now to recover from that. We have 6 stages, so basically Jar progressing here would be 7. So Ronnie and Zafis would need to make an absolute wizard gameplay here and somehow make the miracle happen. Zaka predicts this one as well. Unfortunately, a millimeter too short. Zafis is also going to DH just in case, but that's going to be the survivor standing. Plays like this is what you can use for making a recovery and coming out strong. Unfortunately, SSB, I feel like for recovery, it's a little bit too late now.
Yeah, obviously you never want to count out some of these teams because this is like the upper echelon. These are some of the best DBD players on the planet, but even at this point, yeah, like you said, it definitely could be over right here, especially because Ja, I'm pretty sure, is dead here. And that is going to be, yeah, that's going to be it right there. I mean, that's 7 stages right there, so if I'm not mistaken. So if anyone else, you know, gets hooked, then it's pretty much over at this point, right? But it looks like Zaka might be intent fully on maybe just getting this 4K at 2 gens even. So we're gonna have to see if that's gonna come to fruition. But like you said, at this point, pretty much, you know, pretty much on 1 point for Eternal right here. But we're gonna have to see Zaka gonna end up switching over here. Has Eruption on this Shack gen. Might be able to get Eruption on one of the other gens as well. So yeah, definitely not looking too great for Team Tremor.
Absolutely. Zafis and Ronnie, the 2 injured survivors, will they be able to take a little bit of momentum? That would be important here at least, right? After losing the first set like this, at least getting an additional generator, maybe even both of them. So you can show Zaka, yeah, you might have the stronger spirit game, but we are still able to deal with your pressure. We are still able to make sure that we are going to go for the objectives, and because you're playing Survivor right afterwards on the side of Team Tremor again, so it would be important to take anything like that here really, but unfortunately Zafis is being found, and with that the other Survivor as well, since they were going for a reset here. So Ronnie is going to go for it as well. Zafis, is he able to make anything happen? I would doubt it, because Zaka will just go for a double phase here potentially, and since he might even down both survivors with one phase and one swing, Zaka would be able to do that somehow. Great mind game here on the edge map, and we have the eruption kick in there as well, so touching that generator would give us the information where the survivor is, and he was actually quite around this area, just a little bit further outsourced to the edge of the map here. So we will have a look how quick Zaka can be. I mean, even a hatch escape would be great to have a little bit of momentum for the end game.
Yeah, certainly. Obviously, like you said, you want to have some momentum, especially going into the next set. With that hook on the Ronnie, I'm pretty sure that is the win condition regardless. So, and obviously, like we mentioned earlier, it felt very unlikely that they were going to be able to get another gen done, especially because they decided to just, instead of splitting, they just went for the reset, and Zaka called them out on it pretty effectively, realizing that, this gen by the hill and the gen next to the hook where he was hooking everyone, they both weren't, progressing as much. He had to have known that the two other gens they weren't working on so much. So, he just snipes them out for the reset and then make sure that they, that he gets another hook just to confirm the win right there. But yeah, like you said, momentum into the second game is going to be so important, obviously, right? Because, objectively speaking, this game not going according to plan in the slightest, and you just want to, kind of just let bygones be bygones and just like focus up on the second game, because anything is possible at this point, right? We've seen teams make upsets in DBDLeague, so this could be no exception right here. But for this game one, though, it's all but over now.
Absolutely. Zaf is now going to go into the final chase here. Zaka looking a little bit around, but it's going to be a little bit of memeing towards the end. Zaf is being put onto the floor. The second set of today is going to be the Oni, and unfortunately this is the pick of Eternal. So what we have seen right now was Tremor's pick, and as SSB described it, it was not going according to plan at all. So you are under pressure as Team Tremor, you are down a set point, and now you're also going into the set that your opponent decided to play. So Eternal will feel really good, and I would assume that it's going to be Zaka on the Oni. He just played a dominant Spirit game, so he might be dominant in the upcoming one as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we will switch it to the Coal Tower with the Oni. Eternal is starting on the Killer, and we will show you this right after a short break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Comp Tower. As you heard, a very amazing map in competitive DBD, and we have an amazing killer player, Zaka, and we have an amazing killer character, the Oni. We have an amazing survivor team, Sock My Socks, Ronnie, Ja, and Zafis. We have an amazing mind game potentially. Yep, that's going to be the first injury into the game, and SSB, this is very bad when you're playing against the Oni.
Yeah, definitely really bad. I mean, the point of, the strat against the Oni is to delay that first hit for as long as humanly possible. Unfortunately, Ronnie not only getting that first hit really early, but also getting the down rather early. So this is going to be a handful of orbs, and it's going to be kind of a doozy once. Oh, good awareness right there. Saw, I believe it was Sock My Socks on, in frame. But obviously also realized that maybe Ja was around as well, which is why you see that M1 swing to get out of that pallet. Really good awareness right here. That's going to be a lot of blood orbs, though, potentially coming in, especially with the add-on that makes your demon dash a lot faster, too. That's going to be, that's hella mobility across the entire map.
And with Ronnie being on the hook so early and having the first hook stage on the side of Zaka already, there is also a lot of pressure on the Survivor team. The second injury will immediately trigger the power. Zaka can set up himself without really hunting down generators that he needs to prevent from the completion, because he still has quite some seconds here until the first objectives are going to come out here. Therefore, Zaka in an absolute great spot. He will definitely profit from them. We have 50% over here on this generator next to the hill, another 60% over here, but we basically get that second hook stage onto Ronnie for free, and that's huge, because then you will be able to execute that Survivor almost instantly at the start of the trial.
Yeah, that's exactly going to be the name of the game right there. And yeah, just going to confirm that stage 2. And then also, so one of the add-ons, obviously, it increases the speed, and the other one, whenever you're doing interactions, like you get like an extra blood orb drop. So, you know, Zaka able to power up just a little bit quicker and is able to move a little faster too. So that's just going to be, you know, this is going to be trouble all around. But that's going to be 2 gens popped, right, for the 2 hook stages that Ronnie has. But at this point, if you try to go for the save and you get tagged once, that should be enough. Never mind, that's already enough to get power. So yeah, this is pretty much just let Ronnie die. And, you know, because, oh wait, someone's around. I think I saw someone. I'm not really too sure, but regardless, no, never mind. I might just be seeing things, but regardless, that's going to be a dead Ronnie at this point. You know, you kind of just have to cut your losses and play with 3 survivors, but that's just kind of the name of the game, right? And Ronnie getting found super early is really unfortunate, but regardless, Zaka has this power as well, and now can really take advantage. And as soon as you see a survivor, you maybe get a tag, and then you maybe pop the power going somewhere else, depending on what you want to do. But Zaka right now trying to find Zoppies. Can you get this tag right here, or we're going to get that pallet drop? Yeah, we are. That's a tag, though, maybe? Yeah, there it is. Really smart stuff. Good patience.
Absolutely. The patience is sometimes creating a true miracle, especially in all these mechanical killers where it's about getting a hit or getting not a hit. And I mean, it only the reward for an injury is even higher. We are going back to scout across the generators here. We are holding our power, not using it for mobility just yet. We are waiting for this survivor coming out here, being in our line of sight, trying to go for the down onto Jar. That's not going to be successful right away, but we are going to find the down right now. Jar onto the floor right next to the main building. We do also have a couple of resources up here that the survivors can use later on. 2 generators are chained here together on the top side. Meanwhile, we are finishing the 4th generator. So if there's anything that we can give to the survivors, it's definitely their efficiency and their plan to make a recovery play here, because so far, considering that early elimination, that is looking really good. The downside is, for making this comeback and for putting so much pressure onto the generators, you had to stay injured for quite some time, and therefore we are now going to have almost a blood bank here on the bottom side of the coal tower, meaning that Zaka does not need to be worried about getting his power in. That's going to be a quick pallet drop right here. Zaka not going for the pallet just yet, is confident that he can move around it, but it's not going to be successful. So Zafis here making another turn, and Zafis is actually taking quite some time away from Zaka.
Yeah, definitely delaying a ton of time right there. Gonna get the flick, right? And, you know, you saw that, you know, that is the left add-on right there, providing just a little bit more speed whenever he does charge up that power. But like you said, gonna get a ton of gen progress. Unfortunately, Zoffi's got spotted out when that gen was like 99, and now with that pop being applied as well, and eruption, then that's just a little bit more, that's a lot more regression at least. But regardless, immediate rescue. And yeah, this is exactly what you mentioned earlier, is the fact that we are just getting, you know, we're getting free blood orbs constantly, just because, like you said, everyone had to power through while being injured, because Zaka was so keen on just camping out Ronnie and making sure that we got him out of the game. But right now, survivors are trying to maybe reposition a little bit. I'm not sure what the strat is here, because, you know, now that's 2 gens that were 99 and probably like 80, and now they're both at like 50 or 60%. So that's going to be rather difficult for these survivors to deal with as well. But obviously the anti-gen kicking mechanic coming into play right there, going to provide us potentially with maybe a guaranteed gen at this point. But you know, Zaka opting to maybe find someone dropping. No one home. But so far, I mean,
No one home.
Yeah, no one home. Unfortunately, does find someone at the very end. He's gonna get Jaw right here. Oh, tried to get the flick though, was just so close. Not gonna get it. But now it's a mind game and a half right there. Jaw stared right into Zaka's eyes, into his soul, and he said, "I'm still vaulting this window. I don't care." Gonna get the down right there and the hook. Dire, this is looking pretty. No pun intended. This is looking pretty dire, right?
Yeah. It does, unfortunately. We had so much hope, right? We had so much hope that they were coming from this early elimination onto Ronnie and all these downs being chained together, then smashing through the gens. We had this great chase down here, right next to this generator, and we were saying, well, this is what you need. But now look at all these wonderful blood orbs giving Zaka access to almost another power right here. We are jumping back on the gens, and we're really, really trying. One thing we cannot take from the Survivor team is then absolutely trying their hardest to make a comeback, but Zaka is just too strong. That's going to be the next down right here onto Sock My Socks, and we are going to see the rotation. We want more. The slug is coming out as well, and a wonderful mind game forcing Zafis into dropping the pallet. Unfortunately, then afterwards not landing the hit. The second one is also going to be unsuccessful. Zafis going a little bit on a run here. The good news for Zaka is that these survivors are not able to freely work on the generators right now, so the punishment might not be the worst here, but slowly but steady we are progressing them into the elimination. Sock My Socks luckily having 2 minutes of hang time here, but if Jar would be found and we cut it down to a 2v1, well, that would be much worse here. So let's see what's going to be continuing. We actually find Jar in the distance. We'll find out if he's able to go for a longer run. Is he able to execute that? That's going to be the interesting question here. Zaf is now rotating back towards the hook and making sure that we are getting the unhook onto Zafis, but Jar doesn't make it in time. So Sock's going to be pulled from the hook. Jar is going to come out from of the match, eliminated from the match here, down to a 2v1, and now it's going to be harder than ever.
Yeah, just to put it in perspective for everyone watching at home, the gen that Zafis was working on right now before they went to go pick up Socks was like 90 at the very minimum. It might have been 99. It was very close. And then we saw Zafis work on it, and it was at like 15%. Like, it's so unlucky. Obviously, Resilience gonna prove to be worth it a little bit, get some value right here. And again, the mobility right here from Zaka. That's that purple add-on really coming in clutch right here. But Zafis obviously, dude, Zaka's so aware, by the way. Like obviously saw that Zafis was maybe rotating to Shaq, and then obviously was right next to Shaq and heard the screaming from the pain. So obviously knew that Zafis had to be somewhere, and so just adamantly checking basement. So really smart stuff. Good tracking on his end as well. But yeah, this is gonna be probably another power. And yeah, we were in a situation where it was looking like a 4K1, right? And now 4K2 feels like it's only one gen difference, but it feels like it's like such a big gap, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It does feel like a gap between the performances here of the individual players as well. If we just remember the set number 1 as well, that was such a dominant performance by Zaka on the killer side, and Eternal on the survivor side smashing it as well. And Tremor really not showing the form today of being that team that was almost hunting Eternal for the top of the standings early on in the season. They took a few unexpected losses recently. They are not playing according to a strong plan earlier. We see Wispy is not in the roster anymore, so there seems to be something critical going on behind the scenes as well, leaving Sock My Socks as the final survivor. The hatch will be closed though. We can only hope that they somehow make an escape here, and then we can go for a 4K2 on the side of Tremor, and then with not allowing an end game escape, we could break the tie, but Sock My Socks is going to be found right here as well. So that's going to be the final chase of the trial, and that will conclude it to a 4K on 2 gens remaining. And that's SSB will be such a horrible game for the upcoming trial with so much pressure. Zaka here with potentially the longest delay on the mind game that you can imagine, getting the survivor here as well. So that's very clear, and that's going to be 4K2. We are going straight onto a break here, and we will set up the upcoming potentially final trial on the Cold Tower with the Oni, and we will see you in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, the housekeeping of DBDLeague, and this will be a difficult one, yet we are owning up for what we are doing. Sometimes the lobby is crashing, sometimes the teams are making honest mistakes, and sometimes our team is making a mistake. We simply had the wrong notes for Zaka that was not on Eternal. And yeah, so we own up to our mistake. No penalty, obviously, for Eternal, and it's really, really unfortunate. We can only hope that they have a very, very strong trial again, where they remove the crowd control and where they are going for some juicing at the beginning. The standard of DBDLeague is obviously really, really high, and we are holding teams accountable for deadlines and all their mistakes. And I went to Eternal's VC in the background and I said, listen guys, we always put you on such high expectations and on quite some pressure when it comes to playing DBDL, so we should uphold the standard ourselves. Unfortunately, in this time, we have made a mistake in the past. We are in the break. We are all humans as well, so we ask for your patient understanding here as well, and we thank you for all your support, and we are happy that we are now able to show you that fourth trial. As said, no penalty, because this time it was DBDL being responsible for what happened. We are going into the first chase right here. That's going to be the first chase with Dan the Man, and he's serving, luckily, a very good first chase.
Yeah, definitely serving a really good chase. I mean, this is a repeat of basically what happened at the beginning of the last game as well. You know, we see that crowd control being affected, but we saw it removed not too long after. Finally does get that first hit. Not before that gen pops though, so gonna be able to rotate all the way down, or maybe just keep looping around main, especially because, you know, Corrupt side of the gens right here. Gonna find a stun right here though. I think that might be the smash hit that we saw earlier as well. So really good stuff, good awareness. Gonna get the orbs right here. Power coming up pretty soon. If you can track Dan and maybe get another orb or two, that's probably going to be enough to proctor that power. And just like that, yeah, it's going to be the name of the game. And not before 2 gens pop though, delaying that first hit pretty long time, and also delaying this first down potentially, unless Jock gets something crazy right here. So far so good though for the survivors, looking really, really solid right now.
Absolutely, Ja is having a difficult time, and our survivors of Eternal are going for a run. And I will say it straight away, I'm an Eternal fan this trial, because if we caused the restart because we made a mistake and now Eternal would lose this set, I could not forgive myself, honestly. That's why I'm really, really hoping that Eternal is just pulling it as they were supposed to be. Again, the apology right there. Now though, Zaka here as Edgemap Anderson doing a good job, eventually going down, but that was a little bit more time to go for quite some generator pressure here. So that's going to be really, really good on their side. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, 4 generators are needed and we would be all fine already.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the name of the game. It's going to be 4 gens popped, right? Because we got the 4K2 from Zaka earlier. If they pop at least 4 gens, then that's going to be the 2-0 victory for Eternal. But right here, we're going to see John maybe try to rotate around, maybe try to find some footing here. Gets that pallet stun and did see someone out of the corner of his eye, kind of looping away. That's going to be the pop right there. And that's going to be good long-term value as well with that eruption, just because, you know, if someone does work on that gen for quite some time, then we're going to see, you know, that gen, you know, lose some progress if we do see the down right here. Ja gonna end up trying to find something here though, maybe trying to cut off you know, Zaka potentially at this point. So I'm not really sure what we're gonna find here. Potentially Nightlight trying to find some footing. Yeah, Zaka right here, the smash it. We talked about it earlier, right? When we got that pallet stun. But how long can you prolong this chase? 3 gens done. Only 1 more needed, and that's going to be the game right here. So Zaka not going to greed that pallet right there, or going to greed that pallet actually, and going to get the down, but that's going to be the 4th generator right there, and it's going to be Eternal meeting the win condition, and already has gem number 5 already over halfway done.
And with that being said, we are going to have what we need here. So Eternal taking that 2-0 today, moving further and further up in the standings, keeping it with a 100% win rate, SSB. That is important to mention here as well. They are not just somewhere at the top on the standing, they are undefeated this season. They haven't even tied anything that could drop their set win percentage. So that is absolutely crazy right here. And yeah, big shout out to Team Eternal. Last week they had to wait 90 minutes for their game. Today they had to wait, and they faced this difficult restart, and they are just smashing it anyway. So really strong coming out from them. And now we can just yeah, we can just hope that they are smashing it here and take a few stages out of the door on top.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to take a few stages right there, but Zaka, again, unfortunately not able to, you know, get that panned out the way he wanted to. I mean, we saw him greed the pallet earlier, and then we saw him try to vacuum right there, and unfortunately not going to be it. Gonna get the kill onto Zaka, right? But regardless, you know, it's still going to be, like you said, 100% win rate, especially with Elysium going down last week. You know, Eternal have to be smelling that blood in the water, you know, to end the season undefeated, right? Obviously, I believe it's the last week of the regular season that we have that faded Eternal Elysium set, right? Which I feel like is a rivalry as old as time. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Elysium are going to change up, right? Because they're not, you know, obviously some of these teams are really strong, and you could see them, you know, lose to anyone. But obviously, going into that last week, you expected both Eternal and Elysium to both be at 100% win rate, right? So only Eternal has that opportunity now. The perfect season does continue, right? Which is what, you know, they're expected to do, but it's also what, you know, they're also hoping to get done regardless.
Yeah, final seconds of the best of 3 here. That's going to be now the next injury coming out. We are doing a little bit of end game farming going on. We can hope that Nightlight will actually pull it here with the flashbang, but he does pull back again. Is it going to be enough? They definitely get the rescue here, so we do see a little bit more juicing. That's definitely going to be the out here for Spitz as well. Nightlight going to stay healthy, so we might see a little bit of juicing here towards the end. Dan should make it out as well, so a 3-man escape should come out right here. Let's see how that's going to be playing out. We are doing a little bit of hunting in the main building now, potentially a nice last 1v1 chase here being played out. Unfortunately, we're getting stuck in the door frame there, so Ja really struggling towards the trial so far, trying to get the grasp onto the Eternal Survivors, but it's not going to come through. So yeah, SSB, who's able to stop Eternal in Season 9? That's the big question, right?
Yeah, that is going to be the big question. Nice head-on right there. Obviously, we do a little bit of juicing. We do a little bit of trolling, right? Especially now that they got... You know what? Yeah. Nightlight needs to retire. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. For going down to the jaw Oni, but I'm just trolling, having a good time here. But to kind of back up your question, I really don't know if anyone can stop them, right? I feel like, you know, Ariando are going to spend the next few weeks riding on this high from beating Elysium, and they're a really strong team in their own right. Like, let's not forget, like, this is Booba who played for Eternal before, right? And obviously Arima, if I'm not mistaken, also played for, like, Elysium. LeMagic also played for Eternal as well. And then obviously Exice and Hardwell and iPick are also very strong, very strong players in their own right. So I feel like, if anything, Ariando might be the one that might be able to take it over Eternal, but I'm not really sure. What do you think, Dyer?
I'm losing my hope for the scene, you could say. I mean, we are always looking for a team that can make it up with Eternal, right? We are always looking for that big fight happening at the top at the standings. And now we realistically need to say that Elysium was their team for us, but Elysium took that unexpected loss against Ariandel. So Eternal is alone there at the top. They will stand on a 5-0 now, and there is no other team that even has a 5-0 standing. So Eternal is dominating Season 9, and that's really, really impressive.